You know, you feel energy and you sit down to try to connect into your intuition and your guides, and you feel like there's a message that wants to come through, but you're not really able to understand what that message is. You are probably working within this specific psychic sense. Today, I'm going to go over this psychic ability that most people are completely skipping over, why most people struggle with it, how it probably shows up for you, and some examples from my mentorship students and my sessions this week, going through the exact same thing of feeling a lot of information, but never really able to get the actual guidance, and how they went from being confused to channeling their intuition guides and able to connect into their own timeline energy within the session. If you're new here, my name is Layla Taylor. I'm an intuitive mentor, healer, and guide. I assist you in connecting into your psychic abilities, channeling your spirit guides, developing a relationship with them, and understanding how your unique intuition wants to flow, all at the same time while bridging the gap in between the actual embodiment and integration that is required of the shadow, the inner child, your inner psyche, so that your intuition, your connection to your guides, bridge together so that you truly create a life that is led and guided by your intuition and your soul. This specific psychic ability is the ability of clairsentience. Now, a lot of people will speak about clairsentience, and they'll speak about it in regards to like physical feeling on the body. Now, that is not the way of which I've been taught or how I perceive clairsentience. Now, this is the issue. Spiritual language has a very difficult time really encapsulating all of the minutia of how we receive spiritually, how we interact spiritually. Does it matter? No. Does it matter? Yes. That's the paradoxical relationship of spirituality anyway. There's multiple truths that can be available to us all at the same time. The reason we talk about this, about clairsentience and understanding it, is a lot of people will get stuck on what do I feel, meaning what is the physical feeling I'm receiving or the emotional feeling rather than what do I just feel like? Okay. So these are actually separated. These are two different things. And the reason why I'm going down into the minutia of it is because I perceive this being an issue and a roadblock with so many people I connect into. So when we are talking about like the changing of the physicality of you, meaning if you've ever sat down and all of a sudden felt an emotion coming through, and or like that can be happiness, that can be anger, that can be sadness, or your body starts to feel a certain way, we can get very stuck on why am I feeling what I'm feeling? What is this message? And a lot of times, unless you understand how to utilize your intuition, your other psychic abilities, you're going to feel really confused. It's going to roadblock you. What you're really doing is you're utilizing your empathic abilities in those moments. The empath is someone who mirrors the world around them, whether it's the space, the place, the people, and they mirror their emotional state and or their physical state onto their own bodies as though it's them. Okay, so mom's angry, all of a sudden you feel angry, or mom's angry, all of a sudden you have a pain in your chest. That's how it works. A lot of times I'm working with women who are incredibly empathic, which can give you information, but it can also be the thing that stops you from going any further. You think that that's the message, and it really isn't. There's messages that can come from that. I teach you how to go into the message of that, how to understand what it is. But that's not the final message. So when we move the empathic ability of waiting just for me to feel an emotion and move into what do I just feel like saying, that's clairsentience. Now, what I was originally saying is a lot of women sit down and they're like, okay, I'm going to do this meditation. Okay. I've been taught that this is how intuition, spirit guides are supposed to come to me. And they're like, I feel a lot, like I feel like saying, there's information that's here. I feel like saying, my guides are here. That could also be a physical feeling that they're feeling with the empath nature, right? And they sit there and they sit there and they sit there, but they're like, nothing's happening, right? If you felt this, let me know. I mean, I used to feel that as well. Nothing's happening here. Like, well, what is this? What we have to get past it. Okay. And so when we remove the empathic ability and move just more into the psychic field of information, your clairsentience is going to be working on the I just feel like saying this. So this is one thing that I tell people a lot of times is clairsentience is completely built upon self-trust. The people who are primary clairsentients usually don't trust themselves at all. And that is, again, welcome to the paradox. Welcome to the cosmic laugh, the cosmic joke of your biggest shadow is also your biggest gift. Okay. You have buried your gift of trusting what you just feel like saying under judgment, shame, other people denying your truth or denying the truth. And so that happens for so long that what you're probably doing in your life is constantly assessing and surveying the people around you for micro movements, changes in what you feel like their behavior, their face structure. You're empathically mirroring them to be like, ooh, something just shifted here. And that's how you're getting information and asserting that you feel safe and or need to shift. Instead, what we have to move into with clairsentience is learning how to just trust what I feel like saying. And the example that I probably have said on this show, and I say to a lot of my clients is, I just feel like Layla was going to behave like this today. I just feel like Layla likes banana pudding. I just feel like Layla is like this. You're not actually feeling it, right? And this is the blurred lines that can get very, very confusing. And not enough people speak about this. But I find it very helpful for the type of people who are drawn to me, which are typically women who have been the perfectionists most of their life, have really like catered their entire life to being appeasing. They're shapeshifters because they have long forgotten their own truth because it was never told to them to trust themselves, right? Does not know who they are, how to lean just into the flow state, how to remove shame and judgment. So this is very typical of the people that want to work with me is that they are clairsentient, but don't know how to flow into it. The reason why is because that's my story. We attract, people are attracted to people who have the medicine of what they're currently going through. Okay. A big thing for people that I work with is, okay, you're not feeling that I like banana pudding, right? No, it's just, you just feel like saying it. It leans completely on self-trust. It leans completely on you not shaming or judging yourself and you just saying what you feel. Now that's a big scary, right? Me just saying that, it feels scary. You want me just to say what I feel? That's insane to do. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I'm wrong? Immediately as I'm saying those words, I'm feeling energy rush to my head, up to my chest. I'm starting to feel anxious. And so that is why I structure people in an energetic way so that before we even go into your intuition, so that you're structured in the heart. We've already cleared and released and gone through your energetic field. I have a very specific way that my guides have pulled me through this, that I pull people through. And then I mirror you the entire time we're working together. So what do I mean by that? I use my empathic abilities. This is where it comes in. I become and mirror your body, your energy field, your guides coming in. So I can tell where you are in the body. I can tell your emotions. I can tell when you're afraid. I can tell when you're holding in energy. This has been not something that was available to me at first, but I developed over the thousands of readings I've done in asking my guides, how can I do this differently? Then really fine tuning. This is how you can really show up for your clients. Okay. So when I am able to feel the energy of what you're going through, I know what the energetic state is to tap into spirit outside of the ego and mind. So I lead you through that. A lot of people, I'll say to, and I'm going to get back to clairsentience, but a lot of people will think that they're opening their field of energy. And I'll always ask, like, what is your ritual? And it will typically be like, I call in this, I tell my chakras, some people do the chakras. I tell my chakras to open up. I see this light and then I'm just there. It's not enough. Especially if you are a person who struggles with self-doubt, overthinking, if you're a person who is scared, worried, has learned how to shut down their intuition, is not speaking up for themselves in their day-to-day life. They feel as though they kind of keep quiet. They get passive aggressive. Why am I bringing these things up when I'm talking about clairsentience? It's the usual suspect MO. If I see these characteristics, if I feel this in your energy field, I know that the on the surface skimming of I just open up my energy this way and I just trust whatever's happening is not probably working for you. And or you're getting messages and you're like, I don't even know why I'm saying what I'm saying, because they're not really rooted in the truth and the reality of you. And so there's been people who are like, I'm very intuitive, I'm very psychic, but they don't have a good ritual of like truly connecting into their body, their intuition, and their field in a way that is helpful. And I'll be like, okay, take me through what you do to open up. And I can feel myself confused and on the surface, ungrounded. And they'll start saying things and it's like random words that they're like, I literally have no idea. Dog, Morgan. The process that a lot of spiritual teachers will say is, just do this, just be in the state, believe that you're in the state, and just trust yourself. And then people do that. And they think that this quick little exercise will really anchor them into their truth. And it doesn't. Not unless you're a person who has already been doing the work, knows how to anchor in their own energy, has had multiple times of confirming their intuition consciously, meaning you're not just like randomly got an awareness about your friend, you called her and it was right. And you're like, oh, okay, there, I'm psychic. That's like you not choosing to consciously connect in. It's just happening. That's great. That should happen. But if you want to consciously choose to connect in, I hope I'm not losing you guys here because I'm just kind of like talking and spitballing. I like to say this every single time. I don't script this. I come in after my sessions for the week and I kind of share because I'm doing 3 sessions a day. I limit it to 3. I do about 1 hour and 15 minutes. So that's like almost 4 hours. What's 4 times 5, 20 hours of working with clients very in depth. Okay. And I come in here and I share with you guys. Okay. In hopes that you can take something for it and, or see, hey, I want this kind of mentorship. I really want to anchor in this way in my life. Okay. And so with that, when they're going through their opening of their sequence, I know that they don't know how to consciously develop that relationship. Meaning I'm not just waiting for something to hit me over the head. I can sit down and communicate with my intuition, my guides, my Akashic at any moment. That's a very big difference. Okay. And I've had other people come, other clients, mentorship students be like, hey, I've been in mentorship. This one woman was in mentorship for 2 years. And she's like, I don't know what my spiritual abilities are. I've never connected to my guides. That shocks me. That shocks me because then that's on the teacher. That's on the mentorship. But we'll go past that. Then I work with them on opening up their field of energy because I'm mirroring them. I can see when they're skipping past things. A lot of people will say, oh, this chakra is open. There's no issue. And I see it crumpled and full of distortion and not really spinning because that's how I perceive and I can see. And I'm talking to my guides like, why are they skipping over this? It's because they're not really going into the energy. They're just saying, yep, it's nice. It's good. So I have a method for that. When I notice that people are just kind of going over their chakras and putting icing on a crumbling cake, it's like, let's actually go in a little deeper. And so I have my whole method of how I kind of help correct people into that gently. And what they will notice is as soon as they get into the heart and we've done the final like full system of opening energy, they're in the heart and I go, okay, like go ahead and ask this initial question. It's the same question I have all of my students ask or all of my mentorship students ask. And a lot of times they'll kind of just sit there and I'm already hearing the messages and my guides are like, they're holding it. They're not speaking it. I'm like, what are you receiving? And a lot of times they'll say, I'm not getting anything. And the beautiful thing with doing this for so long is I can say, well, that's not true. Right now, you're not seeing anything. Right now, you may be hearing something and you've already dismissed it. And or what is it that you're feeling? Now, I'm giving you all these different like possibilities. I know how the client is receiving it. And so I'll say it very specifically for them. What do you just feel? So let me actually go into this. I had a client just the other day. She's very empathic, but works in clairsentience with clairvoyance. So when I was teaching her how to do a psychic reading on my field. This is a mentorship student. She's never done a reading. I was like, let's just play here. I showed her how to access my field, how to empathically feel my energy. And then I kind of taught her, how do you start a psychic reading? Well, she was like, I just feel this pressure on my temples. I'm seeing the color purple. That's all I'm getting. Well, what does that mean? I don't know. I'm not getting anything else. That right there is what a lot of people do And they're like, oh, I guess this is it. This is the message. No, it's not. It's a mirroring of energy that you can get information on. You could get information on why am I feeling pressure in my ears? Why am I seeing purple color? But actually it was her energy. It wasn't even mine. I was able to tell that because I've done this. So I know how to tell the difference, and I teach you how to tell the difference too. But let me go past that. She was ready to stop. So then I was like, okay, let's clear my energy, clear Layla's energy. Now move into psychically and intuitively going into my field. And how do you read it that way? And so showing her how to like start reading and initiating, and she got really frustrated. Now, she didn't say it. She didn't change any of her demeanor, but I felt this heat on my chest and this all of a sudden like a hammer on the top of my head. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? I'm feeling frustration. She's like, I'm incredibly frustrated. I could cry because for her, being that she needed to start off clairsentiently, what do I just feel? And she's been used to blurring that with the physical feeling of being an empath, of I always feel what other people need. That gives you a lot of intuitive information, right? Like if I all of a sudden like pick up my empathic abilities of like, Shannon's not feeling good, I'll be like, what's going on? Are you feeling all right? And she's like, oh yeah, you always know, you always. And so that gives me the idea and thought that I'm receiving psychic information. You are, but you're receiving it empathically through a sense of feeling, and you know the nurturance that happens with that. Real psychic energy, not that being an empath isn't real. It is actually. But like actually going past the emotion into the actual message is different. And that's where a lot of people have a hard time with that hurdle. Okay. So when we're talking about that, I had to show her how to move past the frustration and move into what do you just feel like saying? She's not used to using her voice. She's not used to trusting herself. That is a very big thing. She's found a lot of her, and she's not thinking in this way, but this is true for most women. We find a lot of our worthiness, our goodness, and how much we can accommodate the other, right? How good we are at knowing what they need and nurturing of them and shifting. So this was something different. You have to drop that safety bag, because I'm not needing the nurturance or for you to mirror my my energy physically. What is the message? Once I showed her how to do the cycle, because there's a specific structure I create for people who are clairsentients, who need to speak their truth, who need to learn how to speak. And I started playing with her on that. Okay, let's just play. Let's just have fun. Let's move into a flow state here, and waiting till I felt like her energy, all of a sudden shifted. Okay, what do you just feel like saying? Spot on. As soon as she said, I just feel like saying this, then she received an image, because that's how her energy works. I just feel like saying, and then the image appears. Okay. And then she would disregard the image like it was made up. No, don't disregard that image. That image actually means something to me. And instead of holding it in or saying, I don't know why I'm seeing this. No, I'm seeing this. Let me be curious. Okay. And so while I'm mirroring this client's experience, I mean, I've had that happen multiple times this week of moving clients into, channeling what they feel, because that they're a primary clairsentient, and then their clairvoyance shows up. She was able to do an entire reading on me on something I'm actually specifically going through that she had no idea about, because she was saying what she felt and then allowing the vision to come up. What a lot of people are going to do, which I hope you can, is they're going to take this and you're going to sit down and you're going to try to do the same, and you're going to feel like you're making it up. And that is why having a mentor, someone who does this and had to overcome this themselves, is very helpful. And that's why I can work with people who, there was a client who said that she's been doing the work for 10 years, but still wasn't able to channel her intuition. And then the client I told you had a mentor, was in a mentorship for 2 years, didn't know how she received and had never connected to her spirit guides. And then within the first session and then second session, we had already channeled her intuition through a timeline, and then we had already connected to all of her spirit guides. So this is where mentorship with someone who is actually a mentor is very helpful. There's different levels of mentorship, and there's different levels of teachers. A lot of people will think, well, I know this, therefore I can teach this. But just by working with so many people and their experience with other teachers, I can tell you that that's not always the case. So you need to feel into what is it that you're actually needing and desiring for assistance. With me, you are going to be having someone who connects in with you actually energetically. I'm going to be channeling your guides with you. We're going to be running our streams of intuition together. I'm going to be able to catch when you have gone out of the heart into your mind and show you how to release that and go back into the heart and ask questions differently. When you ask a question and then you kind of hold and you're like, that's all I got, I'm going to tell you, ask this question now. I'm going to teach you the art of asking questions so that you don't just like feel like, oh, I got this answer, that's got to be enough. Absolutely not. What I'm really teaching you how to do is how to be an advocate for yourself with spirit. A lot of times we'll think, oh, this is just what I'm receiving. I get that one word, that should be enough. No, you can initiate more understanding and awareness. You can receive more if you advocate for yourself and to understand that there's an actual art to this. Like I can give you the basic instructions of things, but there's an art form that has to be learned. And it took me years to learn it. It's been very important to develop a system in which it doesn't matter if you're a beginner, never heard of chakras. It doesn't matter if you've been meditating for 10 years. It doesn't matter really where you are. How can you restructure based upon how your energy wants to flow? And so if you're feeling as though that's something that would be supportive to you, look into my one-on-one mentorships. If you're not ready for a full mentorship where we really dive deep into your shadow, your energy, and really learn how to channel your guides, look into my spirit connector sessions and work on this clairsentience of I just feel like saying. How much can you do that in your day-to-day life? If I can leave you with something, how much can you work on clairsentiently saying, I just feel like saying that? And we can talk about in another show, if this is something of interest to you, how to start going around the ego so that you're not afraid that you're just being crazy. And you know what? A little bit, you just need to be a little bit crazy. I'm so crazy. I'm just saying what I feel and I'm not worrying about that. Let's just move into that at first, because first you should develop your ability of clairsentience with yourself. And if you're just feeling energy, learning how to differentiate between empathic and what are you actually receiving intuitively are two different flows of energy that can very much merge together. And understanding how to discern the two takes time and practice. Again, if you're interested in working together, you want more information, more personalized, that will have to happen in mentorship. All information will be down below. And until next time, stop trying to be spiritual.